Welcome, guys, to the Rich Carroll program. I am your host, Rich Carroll. I want to talk to you guys about a black shadow that has been cast over this nation. Now, I'm not talking about the solar eclipse, and can we just be done with that already? I'm talking about what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia, with groups like Antifa, the Nazis, the racists, the alt-right. When you hear about these guys, it casts a shadow over our atmosphere, because you think it's 2017 and we should be past all this stuff. But I guess we have to stop and realize that you'll never truly ever be able to eradicate evil. But when it shows its ugly face, we are forced to confront it. And I found a story that I believe shows us the blueprint to overcoming these ideologies. Now, you're likely not hearing about it in the media because, well, for one, it's a little bit of an older story. It was reported on in 2015 and last year as well. But the media is too busy churning out stories that are lumping conservatives and liberals into certain groups and dividing us. And of course, their favorite topic, the president. So they don't have time to report on these stories that I'm about to share with you. And the story I'm talking about comes from Independent Journal Review. And the headline reads like this. It says, "This man spent decades befriending KKK members. Hundreds have left the group because of him." I would like to introduce you to a man named Daryl Davis. There are many headlines in the news today about fighting white supremacy and the Ku Klux Klan with violence. However, decades ago, 58-year-old blues musician Daryl Davis learned the most effective way to get a Klansman to give up his hood: friendship. Daryl Davis has a unique hobby. In his spare time, he befriends white supremacists. Lots of them. Hundreds. He goes to where they live, meets them at their rallies. He dines with them in their homes. He gets to know them because, in his words, "How can you hate me when you don't even know me? Look at me and tell me to my face why you should lynch me." He's also a collector of KKK robes. He collects them as souvenirs when KKK members decide to give up on racism because of his friendship. Davis, a Christian, has met with white supremacists for 3 decades. He never tries to convert the Klansmen. He simply becomes friends with them, and they give up the KKK on their own. According to an interview with The Independent, Davis is happy to be friends with former Klansmen. It's a wonderful thing when you see a light bulb pop on in their heads, or they call you and tell you they are quitting. I never set out to convert anyone in the Klan. I just set out to get an answer to my question, how can you hate me when you don't even know me? I simply gave them a chance to get to know me and treat them the way I wanted to be treated. They come to their own conclusion that this ideology is no longer for them. I'm often the impetus for coming to that conclusion, and I'm very happy that some positivity has come out of my meetings and friendships with them. Not all are fans of Davis's tactics. The musician receives deep criticism from some African American leaders who call him, quote, Uncle Tom and Oreo. According to an interview with The Atlantic, he also asked, "Have you ever gotten criticism from black folks?" "Of course," Davis replied. "Absolutely. Not black people who are friends of mine, who know me and understand where I'm coming from. Some black people who have not heard me interviewed or read my book jump to conclusions and prejudge me. I've been called Uncle Tom, I've been called an Oreo, but it doesn't sway him. I had one guy from an NAACP branch chew me up one side and down the other, saying, 'We've worked hard to get 10 steps forward. Here you are sitting down with the enemy having dinner. You're putting us 20 steps back.' I pull out my robes and hoods and say, 'Look, this is what I've done to put a dent in racism. I've got robes and hoods hanging in my closet by people who've given up that belief because of my conversations sitting down to dinner. They gave it up. How many robes and hoods have you collected?' And then they shut up." Here you have a black man, who his solution to overcoming these ideologies is meeting with these people. That's who these white supremacists are. They're people who have been corrupted by an evil ideology. And Mr. Davis, he sits down with them and he tries to reason with them. And just by becoming their friend and giving them the time of day, and showing them that he's a person too. This story says that hundreds have given up their hateful ideology. And I think the way we overcome this and what Mr. Davis has demonstrated comes from a Bible verse in Romans 12:21. And this is the New King James Version that I'm reading. It simply says, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, in these times where stories seem to divide us and they bring us down, they make us lose faith in our fellow countrymen and our country itself. I ask you, why are we not hearing the story of Daryl Davis more? I invite you to share this video and help get the story about Mr. Davis out. I'm Rich Carroll. Thanks for joining me. God bless.